Joe Mendoza, and my inspiration is like a few of my inspirations like Mr. McDonald's. Like I have seen him before. He's a superintendent of our school, and he's not embarrassed to show the kids how to clean the griddle. In front of he took his coat out, and he started cleaning the griddle during concession. And then like Mr. Watkins, he come in during the weekend to be with the kids to work out. And we have a really good team at the Kodiak High School. And a few of the teachers like Miss Darcy, you know, he come in, he get out of his way to help the student too. And you know, I've been blessed, you know, to work on a place that I really love. That's why I told some, even if I'm only a custodian, I believe that you could still make a difference. And one of the reason that I get all this energy, you know, I have this positive attitude. You know, before you go to work, you need to say, you need to pray and ask Heavenly Father to have like a good attitude and be a good example to people. You know, He'll listen, He's there for you. And I'm so proud for the people that I work, the faculty and staff. I can't mention all of the names, and I'm happy that I work in a place that I enjoy. And I know money's not everything, you know, and I've been blessed to have a job. And all the kids that work at the Kodiak High School, that goes to the Kodiak High School, they're all my kids. I just want to let you know that. And thank you for everything. Thank you.
We have a certificate for you in appreciation for everything that you do. All right. So on to more fun things, the math intervention report.
Christy?
I was given permission. Oh, it is? Oh, this is mine.
Christy Lyle is our math coordinator for the district, and she will be providing a report for the progress of math recovery and strength in number in our district as this work continues. Take a minute for her to set up.
No. So while I'm waiting for this to set up, can I just go back to that last presentation and say there is no such thing as just a custodian? Oh my gosh.
Christy, can
Christy?
I interrupt you for a
Yeah.
quick second? I wasn't paying attention to the clock. It is 8:06 and you need to dismiss the meeting.
I'll give you a minute to finish your setup.
Yeah. Don't run away, Jonathan. It's actually for you. You want to turn around for a second? Thank you so much for helping us out this evening. Did you learn lots? You gonna run for the school board someday? Yeah. Thank you.
Will the school board members and pages join me in front of the dais for a group photo?
Christie, the floor is all yours now.
Okay. Thank you. I asked for permission to give this presentation from right here so I can keep my slides moving at a rapid clip. I am representing the Math Recovery and Strength in Number program. That's one portion of my job. It actually ends up being most of my job, as you'll see. So I just want to start out with a slide that is titled A Comprehensive Coherent Curriculum. One of the key pieces of having success in mathematics is to have a curriculum that is consistent and comprehensive. I gotta maybe sit here. Yeah. Okay.
If I could just make sure you're talking into that.
Yeah. Okay. Is consistent and comprehensive from kindergarten all the way up through high school, and that makes connections. I was at NCTM, National Council for Teachers of Mathematics, a couple years ago, and they described a scenario where if teachers aren't teaching with a consistent manner and consistent language, and you have 64 kindergartners, one teacher's teaching with one program, one teacher's teaching with another, half your kids get a consistent program. The second year, if one teacher's teaching the program, another teacher's teaching another way, now you've got 16 kids that have had a consistent program. By the time they get to 5th grade, you have one student who's had a consistent program throughout their schooling, feasibly. So it's really critical that we take a look at how to do this, and that's a huge part of my job. The components, I'm feeling really disconnected here. All right, I'm gonna just do this. Will that work?
Wherever you want to go.
Perfect.
You can pick this up and move it with you.
Oh, yeah, okay, I'll do this. So the components of a comprehensive math program are many, and I'm going to go through them and give you some examples. The first and foremost that has to happen is vision and leadership. And the vision and leadership that started our program was Marilyn Davidson finding the grant that formed the partnership between us, the National American Indian Alaskan Hawaiian Educational Development Center, who we fondly call the center, and Terry Martin's here tonight as a representative, and the Alaska Department of Education in our work that also includes Barrow. Stuart McDonald and the school board, that's you guys, deserve a huge thanks because your vision and leadership has kept us going against all odds, it sometimes seemed. Don Zindel is consistently at all of our trainings. He shows up and teachers are just in awe that he's there, appreciating the work and the extra time that they give. Our principals have been amazing support as we have asked them to let their teachers leave to get these trainings, have a bunch of subs in their building, let us come into their buildings, walk into their classrooms, pull their kids, do assessments, all kinds of things. They've been incredibly supportive. Teresa Baker and Christy Wall, our two intervention specialists, without saying, provide vision and leadership. And the newest step in our plan is to train a group of teachers who will not have any official title, no official compensation, but they're going above and beyond to learn this program more deeply so that they may support folks in their building. So a big thanks to all those people for their vision and leadership. Next is having, as I mentioned before, a comprehensive coherent curriculum. This quote says it all. We've had Bridges for about 10 years, and I've had some very experienced teachers express sentiments similar to this. Oh, I get now why I'm supposed to do that part of the program. I understand it. I now know how to teach it well. Moving on, we want to provide accessibility of mathematics for all students. 3 years ago, when we started this program, I worked with 5 first graders in the lowest 20% of first grade in mathematics. Those are usually the kids who can't access math at grade level. At this point, they're in 3rd grade. 2 of them are left who didn't move away or move into special services programs. Those 2 kids are in the top 40%. One of them is in the top 7% of his class. Classroom teaching grounded by research and best practices is the foundation of what we do. Oh, the trains! I got so nervous I forgot. You remember a few months ago or weeks ago I was here talking about this program is a fast-moving train. The teachers are going at top speed and they are working like crazy learning these classroom teaching practices. And you can't stop them because it's going. It's just going, going, going. And thanks to you guys, it's going to continue. It does seem. So here's a teacher who's been taught some new research-based practices on how to teach early enumeration to kids. She's impacting all the kids in her classroom. And she does this partly because she has an appropriate effective assessment. Teachers will always tell you, oh gosh, I always knew that there were students who didn't get it, and I knew who they were, but I just couldn't narrow down why, and I sure didn't know what to do about it in a lot of cases. Now teachers know exactly why they're struggling and how to fill those gaps. Parent and community engagement and awareness are critical pieces. This year, thanks to the work of our intervention specialists, we've been able to have 7 or 8 parent nights at the different schools. In this picture, you can see it's dark, but at the back, Teresa Baker's talking with a parent. We've got a high school teacher up here with her student at an elementary school learning about the mathematics. We've got a couple other teachers and parents all working together to learn how our children are learning mathematics. Last and absolutely not least is the opportunity for sustained professional development. Not professional development where you go to a meeting and you go, wow, that's a bunch of cool stuff. And then you go back to your classroom and it's so busy and so crazy, you put it on the shelf and think about it in May or when you retire, you look back and go, wow, that was really good stuff. I wish I would have, I wish I could have, I wish I, no, we are providing the kind of sustained professional development that is ongoing because of our intervention specialists. A lot of people say, well, gosh, they work with one-on-one kids. That's pretty expensive, but they have a lot of hidden roles. Our intervention specialists provide data to the teachers so that their instruction is truly data-driven and those teachers value that data. Right now, we're collecting that data and the teachers keep coming by, got the data for my class yet? Want to know how I did? We also help with RTI diagnosis and we train parapros and teachers with what to do, materials and support for working with those RTI kids. These are the types of skills and concepts that our data addresses. I've done long presentations on all of that before, so I won't go into it, but that's what our data helps teachers break down and helps teachers know how to teach to their kids. Here we have Terry from the center working with Teresa. They're working with a small group of kids who have got a gap in one area or another. Next year, Terry won't be here because we have developed a level of sustainability in our district where we are providing the professional development and support for one another and for ourselves, thanks to the vision of the center. Next, intervention specialists teach model lessons and do lesson studies with teachers. Here we had a teacher who had this lesson modeled for her by an intervention specialist. Now she's doing it in the classroom. The intervention specialist is in there saying, okay, this is what went well, this is how you went, this is what you could have done differently, what do you think about the lesson? Incredibly interactive professional development for this teacher. Lesson studies. Here, actually, you see myself and Christy Wall working with Marilyn Creta and Terry. We are learning how, from Terry, to run a lesson study, how to do that coaching that comes after the lesson. We meet, we plan the lesson, we watch the lesson, then we talk about, okay, what went well, what do you want to do differently next time? So we're learning how to do that on our own next year. Grade level meetings and in-service sectionals, huge part of an intervention specialist's job. Here are just a few of the teachers that have been impacted by some of the opportunities that we've been able to provide. Lunchroom, hallway, before and after school, collegial conversations, critical times. Usually a teacher is so busy, they'll catch you in the hall. Oh my gosh, I tried this lesson today, it didn't work really well, and could you come ask, I just need to ask you one thing. We stop, we drop everything we're doing, because that's who's the critical link between us and the students. It happens all the time. Lunchroom's a great place for those conversations. How important is the coaching? I'm going to tell you a true story without any names about teacher A and teacher B. They work in the same school. They have the same number of students. They've taught for the same number of years. Are they both trained in strength and number? Yes, they are. One requested coaching consistently all year. The other one did not request it. Not saying they're not open to it, but with 2 intervention specialists and myself as the district-wide coordinator, we are doing all we can to get to the folks that request it, and we have a hard time doing that. We have yet to get out to the folks that might be a little more shy, might be a little more nervous. We have always taught in a closed-door system, but we're getting there. Teacher B coached all year long. Her students, on average, showed 13% more growth per student than the students in classroom A. We attribute that in great part to the coaching that was available to that teacher. Lastly, this isn't so hidden. They support the strength and number training and they do one-on-one intervention with kids. Through one-on-one intervention, we've impacted this year 21 students. We hope to impact 30 next year. Through push-in support in classrooms with strength and number trained teachers, we impact 893 students this year. Because next year we will have 70 teachers in the district, that is almost all of them, trained. We are projected that we will be impacting 1,340 students next year. When students enter school, there's a 3-year gap. Without intervention, that gap widens and widens and widens. Those kids at the bottom don't have access to the math because they can't keep up. Math Recovery takes those kids and brings them up to their peers' level. Each of those is a topic that we work on in Math Recovery one-on-one. These are kids who had more than 45 lessons last year. We haven't assessed the kids from this year because they're still being taught, so we're going to get them starting at the beginning of May. But the darkest band is pre-intervention score. The middle band is their post-intervention score. The third band is their grade level target. You'll notice last year we did not meet the grade level target in 4 of the areas. We exceeded it in 1. Our 2 intervention specialists were being trained last year. Now they're fully trained. We expect to exceed the target in every single area this year with our students. This, I don't want you to read the whole thing. I've got it up here because in 2009 I was hired to do this job, thanks to the vision and leadership of the district. The next year we had 2 intervention specialists, thanks to you guys. The third year we had strength and number teachers, that was this year, 40 total trained. We're starting our 3rd cohort this May. And then next year we plan to do all that stuff. So I want you to see just where we're going with what you've given us. And now I have a very special treat for you. Andrew did not know, you can come sit right here if you want, or stand by me. Andrew did not know when I assessed him last week that I was going to put him up on this big screen, nor did I. We work with kids through all the grade levels. Right before I worked with Andrew, I assessed a 3rd grade student. Andrew's in 2nd grade. I assessed a 3rd grade student who I asked the exact same questions. And when she tried to solve 9 plus 5, she said 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14. She got the right answer. That was good. Some kids will have to count 9 out first, then they'll count 5, then they'll start over and count them all. You're going to see Andrew do it a little differently. When she was asked 16 minus 4, my student did this. I counted to 4, and then I counted to 16. 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, 16. 16 minus 4 is 7. That's a 3rd grader. You'll see Andrew do it a little differently. So I'm going to let him watch himself be on stage, and he's here with his parents. Oh, I turned it off so I didn't make this. All right.
Plus 5 equals 15, so 10 plus 9 plus 5 have to equal 14. 16. I'm gonna have to put it like this.
Okay, I'm gonna take out some. I'm gonna take out 4. How many are left?
1.
How did you not so fast?
How do you know that 16 take away 4 equals 12? And know how I do it?
Yeah.
4, 6 take away 4 equals 2. So 16 take away 4 equals 12.
Gotcha.
17.
17?
Oh, you don't. That's okay. Or I'm running ahead. Oh, Andrew, you're gonna have to tell me how you did it. Nope, you're not.
4 equals 7.
He said 11 take away 4 is 7.
21. Take away 4 after 17.
Oh, okay. Nice way of explaining that. But this part helped me solve that. Is that right?
He said 4.
Flip it around. 21 take away 17 equals 4, so 21 take away 4 equals 17. Switch them around.
Can you use one of those to tell the addition sentence?
17 plus 4 equals 21.
Oh.
So this is the kind of mathematical thinking that we're looking for from all of our students, and our teachers are becoming trained to do this at every level, starting in first grade, moving all the way up. And to go with my whole train analogy and finish up, our goal is we have no child left at our train station. And thank you for your support in making this happen.
Questions or comments from the board? Christy, thank you so much. And to your student, what a wonderful job. Very impressed. Next item on the agenda, the Speech and Language Services Report.
I'm going to ask Dr. Martins, our special ed director, to come forward and introduce this next section. I believe one of our very important staff in the special education department, Christina Bieber, will be making this presentation.
Correct.
Heather?
Hello, Christina Bieber is here with me tonight. And she is a certified speech language pathologist in our district. And she's also certified by the American Speech Language Hearing Association.
Yes.
And just this year, she was approved to sit for her national BCBA exam, which is Applied Behavioral Analysis certification. So we'll all wish her luck on her exam in May. Christina's expertise in behavior and speech language was a really good match for our paraprofessionals who had been asking for training in our in-service times about communication and about managing student behavior as well. So Christina agreed to begin an internship program for paraprofessionals to meet the training need identified by them. And she designed and implemented an internship program that covered in-depth speech language topics as well as behavior topics. Let's see, what else? Chris Dresdo, Doreen Lawrence. You guys want to stand up and, I don't know if there's, yeah, just wave, yeah. Chris Dresdo, Doreen Lawrence, Jennifer Jordanelli, and Lynn Devlin. Where's Lynn? There's Lynn. Have undertaken a program of study in the area of speech language support through the University of Alaska and Prince William Sound, and they are now A5s. They were formerly A2s in special education, and they're going to tell you how they have been working together to solve the SLP shortage in our district that we've had for many years.
Okay, good evening. I'm Christina Bieber, and we do have a PowerPoint. Hopefully we'll be concise and to the point. It's my honor tonight to talk about 4 wonderful staff employees that have taken on an endeavor to further their education, and many of them already have post-secondary education to some degree, so they're pursuing communication and associates, specifically with the emphasis with communication. So I think it's an honor. Chris, we've worked together for more than a year, and so now she's over serving at East. And she is supervised by an SLP. So she's out of my nest, and she's doing a wonderful job. That's what I hear. Lynn Devlin is out at Peterson currently with me, working together on the job. And Doreen Lawrence is right down row, and she's up at Peterson as well. And Jennifer Jordanelli could not be here tonight, but she's here in spirit. So Jennifer, good job wherever you are. Okay, great. All right, so I just want to talk briefly about the training and supervision of paraprofessionals. I guess I'll just give a little nod. So these are the 4 interns that we focused on. They have shown exceptional drive, willingness to learn, a thirst for knowledge, which is not typical in your sort of classified staff. Sometimes it's not reinforcing to learn more. Not to say that they don't do a great job, but when you put more pressure on to learn more skills and have a more intense focus on the job, it's not always a wonderful thing. But these 4 have taken it on with a passion. Like Heather said, we have a shortage nationwide and especially in remote sites. And so there's a little infrastructure that Heather kind of drummed up, I'm sure with some administrative support and some monies, and offered this furthering of formal education as well as time out at Peterson with myself. Yes, ASHA says ethically, when you still have open positions listed for SLPs and no one's filling those full-time positions, it is ethical to use staff and personnel as an extension of an SLP. The responsibility certainly comes back to the SLP ethically to ensure high-quality instruction is maintained. IDEA supports using paraprofessionals, I'm sure you all know that. And No Child Left Behind as well. So we're out at Peterson, we're all working together. To some degree, I've worked with all 4 of these individuals, or am still working with them on the job training. And kind of like Christy had talked about in the math presentation, that having data and making decisions daily really affects high quality instruction. And the majority of our workload is with 3- and 4-year-olds. So they really get their hands dirty with a lot of behavior, emerging communication, and changing it up every day for student success. Okay. I think we can just continue with the whole slide.
Here we go.
Just to speak to this slide, they're part of a team with myself, and I think that that's something very valuable. There's a body of literature that talks about supervision and training of support staff. I said it's not eclectic, but it's certainly a team. You have to develop a team together. And again, there is a rich body of literature that says exactly what needs to be done. And it kind of goes across all educational support staff, not just those working with SLPs, but those working in math intervention, those working in ELAP programs. Everyone needs to have communication, planning and scheduling, modeling, some PR. And tonight, it's really great that Heather wanted the community and the school board and the staff to see exactly what they're doing. So to this part, it's kind of technical, so I want to tell you on the job how this applies to what we're doing. So we learned together as a group that we look to the IEP, the Individual Education Program, as our source of developing our curriculum. And we're defining objectively our target behaviors, so it's got to be observable. We're working on data collection and determining when to do that over time. Are we taking it daily, weekly, bi-weekly? And preparing materials constantly to offer quality instruction. As to this part, we're talking about building procedures, everything from understanding emergency procedures to the basics of faxes. So the staff has to have a lot of skills ready to go at the drop of a hat. We talk about Maslow's hierarchy of needs, meeting those behaviors, those basic needs before we can actually instruct and teach for achievement. And then we also want to always keep in front of our mind about communicating with parents and the community. So sharing that information is vital. And we're also involving our team to have a safe and fun learning environment. Because once they're away from me and they're out having periodic supervision, maybe once a week, they have 3 weeks or so on their own where they have to maintain all these skills and think constantly think as items come up and react to we want to offer high-quality instruction. That's certainly what the district wants and what I want, and we're learning that data drives our decisions. So that's how we do things. We don't take a guess, we don't do something on a whim, but we decide based on what's best for that student's performance. We modify our environment to ensure our students' success. So if someone comes in and has a hard day, we sit down and think about it, we put a plan into place that has scientific principles at work, and the next day we have a student that will succeed. Because it's not the student, it's our instruction that needs to be modified. As to that part, we want to say on the job that we're working in different settings of the school, that we feel comfortable working in classrooms with various teachers, as well as on our own in a therapy room. And we want to follow the IEP and any of the learning guidelines that the state has set forth. So we need to be familiar about those. And then also just working with a behavioral philosophy in mind. Ethics always come into play. So we talk about, is this ethical or unethical to do? Because a lot of times on your own, you're going to have to answer those questions. Am I stepping outside of the ASHA Code of Ethics? And so for support staff, ASHA outlines clerical skills, administrative skills, professional conduct, and clinical skills that are explicitly within their scope of practice to perform. For example, evaluating a student would be outside of their scope of practice, but certainly not calling a parent and sharing a celebration. So we know about high quality supervision, and we know that the more training is offered, the better prepared staff are to step into the job and serve our kids. And that's really why we're all here, is for our students to succeed and do the best that they can. And it's a reality that we have a lot of support personnel in special education, and we just need to lift that quality of work. Yeah, and so this is what we know about training. We know that sometimes the training that's offered might not be relevant. And so as a school board, I'm just advocating that when we offer training to our paraprofessionals, just like our teachers, that it be relevant to what they do every day. And that we look to them for feedback to guide us whether we do it again or we change. Is it helpful or is it not helpful? And move with that. Okay, also in the literature, they talk a lot about paraeducator training and what we should cover. But I'll tell you the reality of what we covered this year together. We talked a lot about how to physically structure the therapy room. How do you organize a system of student records? So as I list these skills, they're all doing these things independently eventually. With minimal feedback, they're going to do all these topics that we talk about. They're understanding how behavior and communication work together. Basic terms. Teaching concepts, there's a science behind that. You do examples and non-examples. Again, it's not an eclectic approach. Instructional control you must have before you start teaching. What's data and how do you get it? And it's kind of scary, but we have to improve that across the board. Ethics, we need to talk about morality and doing what's right. It's very important that people have a very sound basis in what they're doing for students and that they believe in what they're doing is right. What's a speech sample and how do I get it and how do the results stay the same across multiple examiners? Edibles, when do I stop giving them? Why do I give them and why is it okay at times? How do we scaffold instruction and then have successful fading of that for student independence? How do we deal with negative behaviors when a child tantrums and says no and runs away? We're constructing line graphs to show our data in a visual graphic. What's discontinuous measurement? And this week we're perfecting token economies. So it's not enough just to make the item and have it present, but how do you use it effectively with the student? When do you give it, when do you not give it, and how do you increase it over time to increase student performance? So there's a science behind just a very simple tool. The National Standards Project, we've discussed that and how that's a very good filter when you hear a lot of incoming information. And then the most important thing is having fun with our kids. So we've learned to make balloon animals, and our kids love them. And I would like to say Doreen is kind of the queen of the balloon animals. And then I would like to call these three women up to the front and just give them a second to share anything that they would like or to thank the school board. So Chris, Doreen, Lynn.
Hi, thank you very much for your support, for the money that you guys have spent on us. My education education has been absolutely essential to the job that I've been doing over the last year or so. About a year and a half training with Christina and now half a year on my own. A little scary. But I found that the training that I received, both from Christina and from the schooling that I've had, has been fabulous. I'm able to do the job that I want to do, and I absolutely love it. Thank you.
Well, I would like to take this moment to thank Stuart and the board for supporting special education. The training that we're getting is absolutely outstanding. Christina has a huge passion for speech, and you can really feel it, and it gets you excited to work with the kids. I'd like to thank Beth. The minute I entered the school, I felt like I had an immediate family and support for the program as well. And I'd like to thank Heather, I'm not sure if she's still here.
Hi there.
Oh, there. For helping us look for scholarships so we could continue with our education. And she's also supportive of the program and of us. And so every day I feel like we come to work and we work hard and we have a lot of fun. And it's a really exciting program. So thank you so much for letting me be part of that.
I've been working with Christina since January, and I love it. I feel like I'm always asking her questions. Sometimes I feel like I'm picking her brain too much, but that's okay. And I want to thank Heather for giving me this opportunity because I love it. I mean, I think the best part about working with the little preschoolers that I'm with is you can see the change in them from week to week, and you see how fast they grow, and it's like, you're like, oh, wow, it's amazing. And it just gives you such a good feeling. It's a great job with great rewards and great people you get to work with, and I just love it. Thank you.
So thank you guys. Thank you for taking a risk and just in doing something different, and thanks for being here. Did you guys have any questions about anything?
Questions from the board? No, great job. Congratulations, ladies. Good work.
Thank you.
Next item on the agenda. Next item on the agenda, the 2011 Youth Risk Behavior Survey Results Report.
Our Director of School and Student Services, Steve Dirksen, will present our Youth Risk Survey. Thank you, Steve.
Okay, thank you. As Christina mentioned about Maslow's hierarchy, there are various health risks that youth have. And this survey, Youth Risk Behavior Survey, helps to monitor those health risks for our students.
Steve, get the mic.
How's that? Is that better? Okay, that's better. And so every 2 years we embark on this survey. This survey was done in 2011, a year ago. And Bonnie, go ahead and go to the next page there. There we have Okiok School and Kodiak High School. I believe what happened here, there's of course more schools than just Okiok, but I believe Okiok served as the base for all the rural schools. So you might just substitute that for rural schools and then Kodiak High School. There was basically a 47% return rate for Okiok, and then Kodiak had 55%. They say if we don't get a 60% participation rate, then we cannot extrapolate the data to include the whole population, so we do need to kind of keep that in mind as we go through this. Bonnie, if you'll go down now to page 137, and the pages preceding 137 are each individual question, and you can read all of this on your own time and decipher it and digest it. But starting on page 137, then, we have kind of a summary of the various categories. As I said, the risk behaviors include things like injury prevention, violence, suicide, ideation, tobacco use, alcohol, drug use, sexual behaviors, weight and obesity, diet, physical activity, connectedness, and perceptions of harm. And so on page 137, I don't think we're quite there yet.
Over there. This is 137.
Oh, maybe down here. 134, 3 more to go.
Oh, sorry.
Oh, that's okay. Okay, here we have injury preventive measures. This is a summary. For example, it talks about if students wear bicycle helmets when they ride bikes. How do we interpret this? Well, I have also on your board documents the summary results for 2009, 2 years before this. And you can compare a little bit, but not fully, because all of the questions aren't the same. But in general, I've noticed that comparing 2011 with 2009, things are better. Things are better, and you can kind of look through in more detail. So that is injury prevention. The next slide, and we'll just kind of go down. Violence prevention also showed a decrease. You'll notice the white horizontal bars are for Kodiak School District, grades 9 through 12, and the blue are for the state. And keep going down. Violence prevention part 2. We'll keep going. And the next one is suicide measures. Not only do I want to show you this data, but I want to mention some prevention and that we're also doing. Our district is a part of the State of Alaska Regional Suicide Prevention Team. I'm a part of that team, and we meet at CANA periodically and talk about the Gulf region of the state, what we can do to help out and for suicide prevention. Also, it's good to know that I want to say all of our counselors are trained in ASSIST prevention suicide model, and in May we'll have ASSIST training in Uzinki and Old Harbor as well. CANA will in particularly put that on. Okay, let's keep going. Tobacco use, again showing a decrease. Various questions regarding tobacco. You know, how old were you when you first puff and things like that? Did you inhale? Things like that. Keep going. That was a joke. Alcohol use. Well, another slide here. Again, this is showing better data than 2 years ago. And keep going down. We get to drug measures on page 145. Again, this is showing a decrease. I spent a lot of time going through each question. Not all of them are the same, but we're showing a decrease. Decrease even in harmful legal products. Many of you remember that presentation where we had a study regarding inhalants. A decrease in marijuana use, according to this survey. Then we'll go down to drug use measures. Okay, talks about prescription drug abuse, again showing a declension for the most part. Sexual behaviors, there's 2 pages on that. We'll keep going down, and then there's weight behavior and dietary behavior, and the list goes on. Please be reminded that you can compare this. This is found on the web of the school district under health and wellness. And then on your board docs, you also have the 2009 results. And I'll put those 2009 results on the web also, so that people at home can compare as well. And then again, we will take this survey again next spring. It is a positive parent permission survey where we have to have positive parent permission for the survey because it is somewhat what you would call invasive, asking personal questions. Now I want to talk a little bit about what we're doing about this. What good is it to have data if we don't do anything about it? So Bonnie will put on a little PowerPoint, and I just have 6 pictures just to show a little bit of what some of the things we're doing. Some of them you're already knowledgeable about. First picture we have here is in the high school. This is a bulletin board of the new wellness club, high school wellness club that meets weekly, and Lucy Murdoch is the wellness coordinator. She's having about 25 students each week meeting together in one of the commons areas. So that's really going well. She has also initiated a rural schools wellness wellness initiative. She's speaking with the rural schools during their staff meetings. Last week she was at Uzinki talking about healthy lifestyles, talking with kids about how to have good nutrition even when you move away from home. So she's really gone forward with this wellness, and it's awesome to see that she's also including rural schools. Damon Hargraves was especially complimentary on her, she went to Uzinki last week and spoke to students there at Uzinki, juniors and seniors from all around the rural schools of the island. Okay, next. I had the privilege of being at Uzinki probably a month ago, doing some testing there, and lo and behold, Martha Cook was involving her class in character counts, doing all kinds of student work. Go ahead with the pictures. And what's important about character counts and the instruction that goes with it, it transcends the idea of just putting a poster on the board. Anybody can do that. But when you're engaging the students in instruction where they're creating posters, they're talking with one another, working in groups, next slide, that helps cement in to them the idea of respect, being honest, being trustworthy. So it was great to see that happening at the rural schools as well, and it certainly does happen here, particularly among the grade schools in town. And then the next slide, today we had the DARE graduation. Now this Thursday night there will be DARE graduation in Peterson, but today we had DARE graduation for Maine, East, and North Star, and it was good to see that North Star had a DARE program this year. Sometimes the troopers are not able to provide a DARE officer, but this time, thanks to Officer Holden and Chief Kamai, they've allowed Officer Holden to be the DARE instructor at North Star. And of course that is Lieutenant Ellis helping out there. Thank you, Ron. And then the next picture is Hannah Villaroya. Several students received awards for their essay contests. So again, DARE, we're instructing about healthy choices, about resisting drugs and substances of that nature as well. So it's great to be able to report to you not only the results of the Youth Risk Behavior Survey, but also to be able to report to you what we're doing about it. Are there any questions?
Any questions from
Peggy,
the
do you have
board?
a question?
No, I
I
couldn't find,
technical difficulties.
Oh, okay, okay.
I couldn't find my report, thank you.
Steve, thank you very much. I have to admit, and we know it's very important information. I appreciate all the work that you do, but I did choke a little bit when I saw you had 162 slides, so.
Oh, okay, yes, we didn't look at all of them, but be sure to do that tonight.
Thank you. I will in my spare time. Peggy has a question.
Steve,
Don't run away from
It's not a question, it's just a comment.
Sure.
You know, I want to thank you. I know that we put pressure on you a year ago to get this information, to get it before the end of the year, and I appreciate you having it by the end of the year.
Thank you, it's good to report.
Thank you. Next item on the agenda, committee reports. Are there any committee reports from board members? None? Aaron, do you have any? Are you still there?
Aaron, any committee reports?
No, I don't have any.
All right, I did attend the CTE curriculum committee last Wednesday, just to let you know. A lot of hard work. Barry and his colleagues have done a great job, and that curriculum will come before the board next month for review and approval. Next item on the agenda, our very brief superintendent's report.
Many things take place in a week, the 2 weeks between our board meetings, and to try and bring us up to date would make a rather lengthy list. We did have the DARE graduation today, but we also had an Envirothon Awards ceremony at the high school, I believe in Jane Eisman's classroom today, that we had many students celebrated in their work, including students in our villages. And it was wonderful to get the report and to see on the VTC as a student would receive an award from the village, how all of the students at the high school would gather around close. And it was wonderful to see what students are taking almost for granted now. It is something that we had a vision that we would bring students together to be able to have that more social engagement in education island-wide, and we see it now commonplace every day. And I wanted to make sure that was mentioned. We were a finalist for the National Board 2012 National Board Association Kennedy Center Alliance for Arts Education Network Award. We were a finalist, and that's important. We did not win, but for a school district our size, to be the only school district of our size actually a part of the Kennedy Center Alliance is significant. And the winner was Palm Beach County School Board in Florida, and they won the $10,000 award. But we were noticed and recognized, and that is noteworthy. We also have our board-sponsored Kodiak High School Academic Excellence Ceremony this Thursday, May 3rd. And this is something I want to make sure that we're mentioning at this time at 6 p.m. over at the KHS Commons. And any of our board members that can attend, very welcome. It's a very worthwhile endeavor and the last one of its kind this school year. And our Board of Education May 7th work session will begin very early at 3:30 p.m. because we're going to Chiniak. So connect with us through Bonnie, and we'll make sure that we have a ride and we can all ride out together unless you want to make that journey on your own. I welcome a nice long chat so I can have a longer than a brief report with you on our activities. That was a joke. And that's it. Hey,
Maybe we'll ride in the van and he can drive by himself. All right, thank you for being brief, Stuart. Next item on the agenda, the FY13 proposed budget and public hearing. Where are you running off to?
Far, far away.
Grab your mic. Yeah, you color coordinated tonight. Norm would be so proud.
It's one of his favorite color shirts that I wear. Nice and bright green pastel.
Yeah, hold on.
The purple tie. It's very spring color. Spring colors. Bonnie and Luke, will this slideshow be available in Word docs shortly after the presentation? Okay. Tonight we heard many presentations, not only from student recognitions, staff recognitions, and you also heard some of our performance reports of some of the programs that we're doing both in interventions and for all students as well as their special populations. We also heard some of the information that we're gathering regarding the well-being of our students beyond just academics. All of that costs money. All of that is what our budget pays for. But much more important than our budget, this school board, and I fully recognize this, understands that our public education system is about the students and the families we serve. And everything we spend our money on, the programs, the initiatives, are not programs and initiatives. They're not about the staff. They're about the kids, the quality of education that we are bringing to this island. And I wonder if you were listening in the radio audience tonight from the whole program start to finish, if you're in the audience here at the Borough Assembly chambers, or here behind the dais with the school board, if you saw a glimpse of what the future of Kodiak is going to look like in the vision of the kids in their science experiments, in the vision of the kids as they stood here as leaders, beyond the academics of reading, writing, and math, but the applied community involvement and vision of their own future, their own personal positive vision. And that is what a budget is about. That's what a board vision is about, and that's what we're putting together. And I really thank this whole community, the board and our staff, and everybody for being dedicated to that purpose. That being said, Our mission statement is something that we live by, we believe in. I believe it may be time as we move into this new era of education to find a way to focus and simplify that statement. But right now, it embodies everything that we're trying to do. We are trying to bring the highest standard of excellence in a program to our kids. And we're about empowering all students. And not all students fit the same box. It's not a one-size-fits-all program. Our program cannot just be reading, writing, and math. It has to also simultaneously be everything that inspires and ignites the vision of a child to want to be a student, to want to be curious, to want to learn, and keeps them engaged and focused all the way through high school, all the way through graduation. And without enriched programs that are beyond reading, writing, and math, our dropout rate goes up, our graduation rate goes down, and the quality of what we as a community become goes down. We're engaged in always 3 budget cycles. And these budget cycles, you're familiar with them. In fact, as a school board, you're probably among the most educated on our budget cycle. And for the listening public, we're always engaged in 3. We're wrapping up the previous year's budget in the form of our annual audit. Then we are implementing our current year budget, as you can see here in the center circle, or the middle circle. And we're engaged in that now as we implement that budget and go through revisions. We're about to have a spring revision. We just had our spring revision. And then we'll do our final closeout of the budget this June. And then the outer circle is what brings us here today, the budget development of our fiscal year 2013. Go ahead. And I actually identified all of those circles, so we'll just click right through that. Save us a few talking points there. This is our annual timeline, and this is the cycle we go through. Go ahead and click. We always begin with district plans, forming a blueprint, doing a needs assessment, and that drives where we go next. Now, when we give a report to the board and we talk about student performance, that's the stuff we refer to, and that's the information we're collecting, and that's the discussion. We never seem to have enough time to delve into that as long as it takes to really do each one of those items justice. And tonight, it would be wonderful if we could take the time to go through this, but time just won't permit it. And you will see a non-comprehensive list. The list of things that we do to study our students in our program is far greater than this list. And we build plans and conduct needs assessments to determine where our strengths and weaknesses as a program may be, and then pursue what we need to do. Go ahead and click. Then we have our annual timeline, and we start our strategic planning in October. And we have many dates identified. This year we tried to do something different. We brought members that represented larger groups of the community together around a table. Very successful. We collected information in the form of surveys, electronic data, community meetings, and meetings like this to form where we were headed as a community, what the community wanted for the future of their students, and what this town looks like. The board then came together after that exercise was done and updated their board goals. And we'll just take a quick look at a few of these things. It was important that at the top of the list, the board made sure increased student achievement was the #1 goal for the board. And as we go through this and look at the budget tonight, you will see that the budget we're proposing, the work that we're doing and engaging is consistent with where the board wants us to be, where the community wants us to be. And we learned through another series of other kinds of meetings where we even came together during this process and brought together a strategic planning group that came in and did some budget advisory and helped us continue to focus those goals that you just saw in our strategic plan and board goals and focus on a few things. And what's amazing is the only difference from this year to last year is you'll notice the top piece there, the pupil-teacher ratio. And as a result, in our sustained focus, we are aligning the high school and middle school bell schedule. It actually should include our rural schools because the secondary programs are also aligning as we use our video teleconferencing and other electronic methods to enhance being able to have more students, smaller groups of students in front of a teacher than before. And then for our elementary program, we're working to balance the pupil-teacher ratio at each elementary level. And the way we're going to do this is continue to watch as we build our master schedules in our elementary schools through August as students come in and enroll. And every year we go through a process where we have to make sure that things are balanced with the number of students in kindergarten and first grade and so forth. This year, we did not have time to make this response. As you know, our last year budget process caught us off guard at the last minute, and we had to make some pretty deep cuts pretty late, which left us with a pupil-teacher ratio in some classrooms that many people have been focused on all year long, and we hope to correct that by this August. Annual timeline. This is the tough part of the job. Our enrollment is, our budget revenue from the state is largely based on student enrollment. Go ahead, Bonnie. You know, it just occurred to me, this actually probably clicks through the slides. There it is.
Actually, you don't have your little thing there.
Oh, okay. You gave that to me for the laser pointer, not the connectivity.
Okay, that should work now.
All right.
You have to point it at that. There it goes.
There it goes.
Okay. So, did that just go forward? Okay. So, this is a very important part of our work, and we have become quite good at it. In fact, barring any unforeseen activity like we experienced recently where we learned that many families in the Coast Guard left their families behind in the lower 48 as they couldn't sell a house due to the housing market. Other than fluctuations like that, we have been able to be within sometimes 10 to 50 students in a projection when you have 2,500 plus students. That's a pretty good projection enrollment projection year to year. And we use a methodology we'll take a look at here in just a minute. Make sure the enrollment projection uses 100% cohort survival methodology that comes from the Department of Education, where we bring our students up through the program and use a formula on that 100% cohort survival. 3-year average for incoming kindergarten students, KMS and KHS based on feeder schools so that we can project their